And welcome back to the fifth and final episode of the Jimmy House podcast. Today, we have Nabil Lahlou, correct?
Lahlou. Thanks for having me, Jimmy.
Thank you for being on the podcast. I tried to do some research before, and I took however the WRPF guy pronounced your name, and I was hoping that was.
Yes, I get a lot of different pronunciation when it comes to my first name or last name, but it's great. It's funny. I get some funny names.
Nonetheless, the French phenom is his rightfully deserved nickname.
How's it going, guys?
He is actually from France, obviously. Yep. When did you move here?
I moved here when I was 18, so right after high school.
Okay.
I moved to Virginia.
By yourself, or?
So I moved to so I have an uncle that lives in Virginia. I moved to his place to start college. Went to George Mason University. Did my first year in VA, and then I got my own place. I was too overbearing, because I think it was COVID, right before COVID, and then everybody was still in the house. He has two kids, so my cousins were there, so we were all in the house. It was great, and then we kind of all grew, so it's we had to one moved in Georgia, the other one moved in somewhere further in Virginia. I'm in Texas now, and
how you've been in Texas for a couple of years, right?
It'll be a couple of years next February.
And that's actually where he and I met. And the story behind that is quite simply, I came out here to visit Derek, and then I knew you guys were lifting with Derek at the time too, but I hadn't formally met you guys yet. And the biggest thing, I just wanted to train with powerlifters that are world class, because I was in prep kind of for my powerlifting meet at the time, and I was tempted to kind of relearn sumo deadlifts. And between Nabil and Sawyer and Johnny and Derek, you got literally the four of the best deadlifters in the world, period.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
that's a huge. Yeah, that's a. I mean, in the same radius, we're all 10 miles away from.
Yeah, it's just literal facts. I mean, and then you got Jamal nearby.
Neighbors too. Yep.
If you guys are interested in my one-on-one online coaching services, make sure to check out my coaching app, where we can customize your workout, customize your nutrition for whatever specific goals that you need. We have a link down below in the show notes if you want to apply, when we can schedule a free consultation call with myself. Houston is a sumo
gang. Yeah,
no doubt.
Well, you did pretty good. I ended up pulling the 800.
Well, large credit to you guys for as much as you helped me, and that's really why I had grown to respect Nabil and Sawyer and everybody so much, because when I had went to that session, I had pulled sumo before, but not very technically. I basically just had a pretty strong conventional deadlift, and then used my leverages to kind of cheat sumo up to get an extra 20 or so pounds. But I remember that deadlift session specifically after, showing, it was Johnny work with me at the time. He was looking at my hip mobility, my arms, so on and so forth. And I remember him saying dude, I think you can pull 800 if you give it a little bit more time, whatever. And then when I was going through it and working on the things, you had been very adamant on helping me after just meeting me.
Oh yeah.
And to me, that's a huge sign of just overall how you are as a person. I really started to respect you a lot. I was a fan of you already because of your videos and what you had accomplished, but I really grew a lot of respect for you because of how you were as a human. But then also just having just meeted me, you don't know anything, you don't owe me anything, and you're super willing to help.
Absolutely.
And that's always really meant a lot to me. So,
but absolutely, Jimmy, that's all part of this fitness community. It's all about positivity and just helping out each other when it comes to lifting. And I saw Jimmy lifting. Obviously super jacked, guys. To be honest, I don't know what I could do if I was in his body. But yeah, very gifted when it comes to muscle belly. He's super strong. And I saw him lift. I was he has great genetics. First, he has great leverages. I was even though he might not have the same leverages than I have, he's still able to get in a very optimal positioning. The only thing that I saw was that he was kind of rushing. That's mainly what we were talking about, rushing off the ground, taking your time, pulling the slack, maintaining the hip height, finding the perfect hip height for your own body. And I think if you figure it out after 2 weeks, and then a month later I see you pull 800, I was yes, it went from 700 pounds to 800 pounds in a couple months. And then we competed. We did American Pro together. That was a blast.
That was a cool moment. That was a cool moment because I had hit my third deadlift, got it. I was super pumped about it. I went outside because I was super emotional. And then a few minutes later, we actually caught it on camera. You hit yours inside, and you come out, you're screaming.
That was insane.
It's actually on my YouTube channel where he comes out. He's having his moment. His moment's much greater than mine because we all have our own journey, brother. 100%.
Learn to appreciate.
That was your world record, right?
That was that was my world record, still standing. But I left everybody on the edge of their seats.
Yeah, totally.
I almost bumped out.
I remember that. Yeah.
I opened with the record, so my first attempt was. I went into the meet thinking of like, okay, the main goal is to break this 700 kilo total at 67 and get that record. And after my squat and bench, I was like, okay, if I pull 325, 716, then that will give me a 701. So I'm like, you know what, just load it and then see what happens. The bar did not move. The bar didn't move the first attempt. Second attempt, I had to switch up a little few things, just be more aggressive. Obviously, the weight cut, I would do like aggressive weight cuts to make 148. I'm right now 170, so there's a huge it's a lot of weight to lose to get to that body weight. And I was like, the second time I just had to lock in. The bar moved, so it gave me a sort of like confidence that I can actually do it. But it was the last fight. It's like now or never. If I don't do that, everything that happened before, all the preparation, me losing 30 pounds, me prepping for 4 months, all of that was for nothing basically. So I was like, I have no choice to pull it.
Now, did you start at that weight as your opener, or did you go up?
I started with 716.
Okay.
Yep.
I want to ask like your perspective on that, because in any other situation, if you don't move the bar on your opener and then like you get it on your third, that's just like, it's just not how things are supposed to go.
It's not how.
So how do you do that? Like,
I would say it's like a fight or flight. Okay. It's really like I put myself in a situation where like, it's either I live this or like something terrible is gonna happen. I have to put myself in like, imagine a situation I had Sawyer like bringing me outside of the venue right before I pull. He was yelling at me. He was helping. He was like, hyping me up at the same time, which kind of like triggered a little like sensation in me. It was different from my first and second attempt, and I felt it. And sometimes I'm able to like activate it, not really in training, but really when it's like it's now or never situation type of deal. So if people have the ability to turn the fight or flight mode like on, I think like we'll see some people will be deadlifting like 1,500 pounds and squatting like 1,400 pounds, but we're not there yet. But I think it was really like an instinct thing, or maybe like, I don't know, God was with me, let me lift the weight. I don't know.
Was there a major technical cue that you changed from the first to the third?
Yes, so my first attempt I was wearing an extra layer. Okay. And then my second attempt, I removed that layer and I wore the belt a little tighter because I didn't have that brace like I wanted it to. Now the brace was too hard, but the weight moved. Like I broke the ground on the second attempt. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put the t-shirt again, go slightly looser on my belt, and it worked.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, I was because you only have like 8 minutes to think of like small variables that can make you actually achieve that lift. So it was a very stressful moment, and then at the end it was, wow, everybody, yeah, you got it. It was crazy.
That was incredible.
It was a good moment.
Yeah, I remember that because, well, that's funny that you say that, because now everybody's just going to be deadlifting shirtless because you said that's how it works. I'm going to try it myself actually.
If the bar doesn't move, just try to remove your t-shirt and then wear your belt tighter. Yeah, dude. It might go up.
That's funny. I remember you when I first started seeing your videos. I feel like you're really honestly like the pioneer of like this pound for pound deadlift like insanity, at least like with the males. Like you had some women doing it beforehand, but like I remember when your video started going, it was like, holy shit, you know, he's 148, 160, whatever, and you were like the first person, in my opinion, to really start popping off that way. Now you got a few other people doing it.
Now it's crazy because we see the same thing happening, but with like way younger, 17, 18.
That kid from Arizona.
Or my Nick Yu, a good buddy of mine. He actually visited me 3 months ago. I think we did a video together. It was great, and because I saw him, he pulled 400 kilos at 17, weighing 180 pounds, super lean. You don't see that. You never saw that. So it was great. Like just learning from like the new generation, because this new generation is scary, man. Yeah, for real. Have you seen that no Jojo IPF guy? He's 120 kilos, 18-year-old, already squats almost 800, pulls 881 on step bar in the IPF, 18-year-old.
From the
UK. From the UK, from the UK. So we really seen like a vague of young talent just popping in out of nowhere, and I think this is the new generation. So Sawyer, Johnny, us. Back when we were 21, we started popping off. Now we're like 24, 25. Now you have even younger kids showing up, and it's great to see like the fitness, the powerlifting community just evolve, and us seeing us human also evolve as we go through each and single year.
I think you guys have a huge role in that progression, because if you look at some of the people that are lighter in stature but pulling that much, I think a lot of those people see somebody like you and think, oh wow, okay, he can do that, I can do that too.
Exactly. So now it opens a door. Like, it's possible.
That's why I call you the pioneer of it, because you're like the first person to show that, like, oh wow, that's like actually possible. You know,
basically.
So that's really cool. And also it's actually crazy, because I feel like powerlifting is one of those few sports where you can make these ridiculous jumps and progressions from generations that last like 1 to 2 years, to where all of a sudden you're talking about the next generation, but it's only been like a couple years.
Exactly. And
why do you think that is?
Technology, I'd say.
Okay.
Like, technology is involving new bars, new plates, new environment, new styles of training, new supplementation. I think all of that plays a factor in why we're seeing this huge spike of younger kids just doing what they're doing now. Yeah,
because I think nowadays it's much easier for a kid in high school to start powerlifting, actually start on the right track from day one.
Absolutely.
As long as they like try a little bit.
When you first started powerlifting, I'm sure it wasn't like this.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was talking to Sawyer, like I was thrown into like the geared side of lifting with like single ply and stuff like that.
And back then, like 700 pounds was a huge deal.
Yeah.
Squat, deadlift, or maybe even squat, it was a massive deal.
I pulled 625 at 18 at 198, that was like amongst like one of the higher numbers in the country for that.
Exactly.
But then now,
was it like that? Which era was it? When
that was like the Jesse Norris era.
Jesse Norris, who was in the 75. I think what's his name? The owner of Fighter Quit.
Oh, Micah Marino.
He pulled like close to like 765 as 165.
I remember him going for 800 too, maybe 181 or something.
Yeah, that was that in Jesse Norris. Old school days.
Yeah, for real. Who are some of your favorite guys?
My inspiration when it comes to like powerlifting in general, or just
maybe when you first started.
When I first started, I was a huge fan of Yuri, just for his style of I loved, just because it's uncommon seeing somebody putting sumo this wide at that time with such upright leverages with no belt. I thought that was super impressive, you know. So it was Yuri, and then come to the tested side, I would say it was more like I was leaning more towards like Bob Matthews, because I've been following Bob ever since he was like doing his stunt lifts when he was super young, before he really entered USAPL and did his first round nationals. I was already like texting him. That was really like the first year where I was okay, I'm gonna start powerlifting, because I've been doing that since I've been competing for 4 years, and I've been training for 5.5. Okay. So 5 years. In 5 years, yep.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Like, where does your athletic background start, and how did you get into powerlifting?
Sure. So I come from a like sports background. Okay. I played tennis from the age of 2 up until the age of 16. I was doing competition, like I was doing tournaments every like other weekends. I was like going different places in France. I was all in France.
Is this big in France?
Well, essentially, my main goal was to be a professional tennis player. Okay. Like, up until 16, that's literally what I wanted to do. I did high school, but I was not in school, so I was doing school at home, and I was playing, like I was spending like 4 hours on the tennis court every day. Then I was doing all this physical therapy. So it was a lot of stress, a lot of like no social life. It was very hard for like a 14, like a kid that's trying to grow and just become a man. And now he's in a situation where he just has to, he doesn't see people because he's homeschooled. He's doing school at home, and then for 5 hours he's on the tennis court, and then the rest is just eating, and it's repeat. So I was already kind of programmed to live the healthy lifestyle, that that routine. I gotcha. Yeah, up until the age of 16, and then at the age of 16, I had like a switch happening in my head. I was like, okay, you know what? Like, it was fun, but it felt more like it was my dad's like kind of like plan, or probably something because my dad also was a tennis player, and I kind of felt like he wanted to put me on his path.
Okay.
And I chose to do that, and then I kind of find myself lost, and I wanted to do my own thing.
Right.
So I kind of had like a mental breakdown. So I stopped like tennis completely.
Okay.
I didn't do any physical like stuff for a year and a half, and then I kind of like got super skinny and out of shape. I was not even 50 kilos. I was like 47,
really? Okay.
47 kilos when I moved here, and then when I moved here, did my freshman year of college, and I had a switch. I was like, bro, all those guys are so jacked. I'm in school. They're sitting. They're eating their food. They're eating their meals in like buckets. They all go train, and I just went and asked somebody, a random guy, like, hey, what do you do? Like, do you train here? Do you train on campus? He's like, yeah, come with me. So I went with him, and it's really him that really introduced me to like the lifting world. I didn't know anything. That's with him when I did my first like barbell bench, my first curl, all that stuff. So his name was Adam, if I remember correctly.
You didn't lift at all when you were playing tennis?
Never.
Wow.
Never lifted at all.
So basically,
I was just doing like conditioning.
Okay.
So I was conditioning my muscles to be very explosive on the tennis court.
So lifting wise, like 5.5 years.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it.
That's so cool to think about, because you got like this tennis player in France, and like lo and behold, like, hey, if you choose to stop playing tennis, you may actually deadlift 800 at some point.
You may.
You know, that's crazy to think about.
Because now you worked on those like small muscle fibers that you need to recruit in like that stretch reflex, all those fibers. You recruit them on tennis court. Yes, a different way, but since they've been used and trained for over a decade now you just have to train them a certain way to apply to a certain different discipline or movement.
I love that.
Yeah.
Can you, because I asked Sawyer how wrestling transferred to powerlifting, so now this is a unique one. How does tennis translate to powerlifting?
I think it can actually transfer pretty well.
Okay.
Obviously, tennis players are not super jacked. I'm not the super jacked type, but it just proves that you don't have to be super jacked to actually lift heavy weights. It's all about like understanding your own body, understanding your own leverages, understanding what works for you, and then finding the right formula and apply it and stick to it. And if you don't stick to it, then you're not giving enough time or try, because they give up quickly. But like I said, the main thing is more so like having a good cardio and being super explosive. That's really what I think helped me transfer that power. Because one thing after 5 years of powerlifting I can say, I'm very explosive, so that means it works well for the one rep. So, but when it comes to like doing rep work and the muscle endurance, all that stuff, that's where I kind of find like myself when I need the most work. You know?
That's cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
Hypertrophy stuff.
And that allows you to get stronger.
Yeah, and if I get good with that, then it's a double win. You win on both boards, basically.
Yeah. Can you now touch on your best numbers, competition and in the gym for perspective?
So my best performance was actually the American Pro last year. I ended up with a 545 dots, and I did a 545 squats at 148. A 300-pound bench at 148 and a 716-pound bench at 148, which the deadlift was the all-time world record. And in training now, since I'm trying to gain size, I'm trying to go up and eventually take all those deadlift records. I'm trying to climb it up. Last year I squatted 600, January of this year I squatted 600 for the first time for a single.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Insane.
I benched, now I bench 362. I benched 362 in training. I did 358 for nice pause last block, so that's good for a single. And well, deadlift we'll see, because I have singles and this block. But my best pull with no straps, because is 782. My best pull period on kilos is with straps was 810
and on
815
pound plates. Did you break
it's the same.
It's the same.
Yeah, I pulled the same. So I think now if I try to go on pound plates, I can probably crack in the 850s. You know, but the plan of this block is to really like focus on that single deadlift to comp standards, so hook grip kilo plates, and break that 365 to 370 kilo barrier, which will be like 820-ish. That'll be good. That'll put me in a great spot, and then just keep building from there.
At like 165 now?
Yeah, I'm 170 right now.
Okay.
I was actually a bit heavier. I got sick. That's one thing. Like the appetite man and then just maintaining the weight.
Right.
I was fortunate to maintain 180 for 3 weeks.
Wow.
And then I got a little bit food poisoning and then lost a bunch of water and then just kind of deflated and then just appetite kind of gone. Now appetite is coming back. Those are some things I always battle. Like, it's like every 3 months I can eat like a shit ton and I can put on like 10 kilos and I just feel bloated and full of sodium and so strong that brace I feel like I'm gonna pop out of my belt. And then sometimes I just have no appetite or I get sick or little injuries happen here and there, and those are the things you have to, like the obstacles that are kind of like sometimes challenging, but if you know what to do and how to prepare yourself, you can always like come back on top. I would never say that like getting sick or getting injured is something bad. I would say it could potentially be a blessing for you if you know what to do and come back on top. And most of the injured people, injuries I've seen, like I always see that person come back on top, you know, if they're mentally ready for it. And obviously you're gonna find like people giving up.
Yeah.
But
with that on injuries, what injuries have you dealt with in the past, and what's your general take on how to approach injuries in powerlifting, say for a beginner watching?
Sure. So I've had multiple injuries. Like I took my my QL 2-3 times. The first time was horrible. I couldn't even walk for 3 weeks, and then I was back in the gym after a month and a half just because I didn't know what to do. It was my first real injury. So I go in, I forgot my belt at the gym, and I was like, oh, I thought it was a smart idea to just do my training. I did my squat with no belt, and it was a week 3. It was 441. I got it, but I didn't feel much then, and then it was a full SBD. By the time I go and warm up for deadlift, just a warm up, I tried to pull like 375. As I pull the slack, I get down forward, I feel like 2 pop, and I like on that side pop, and I was just stuck. I was like, oh no, it's the first time I get injured. I was like, okay. And then I couldn't move. I was scared because I had somebody helping me. Thankfully it was super late. They helped me carry it, like put all the weights and stuff, and then I was literally ramping to my car. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make it. And the next day I woke up super stiff, and all I did was not what I was supposed to do. I just stayed in bed. I didn't have any movement. I didn't hit like my protein like I was supposed to. I didn't hydrate. I didn't do all of those little things. My rehab, that's why it took me a month and a half to get back into the gym. And then 6 months later, it happened again.
Same injury.
Same injury, but then a week and a half later, I was already back in the gym lifting some type of weights. So if you get injured, that's my main advice. Don't be lazy and sit on your couch. If you get injured, try to go out there and do something. It's better to do something than not do anything. Even if it's just to lift the bar or just do some steps, you need some movement to put some blood flow in the area to regenerate all those cells so the injury goes away. That's what I would say. Just don't be lazy.
That's a great piece of advice. I feel like a lot of people to that account will actually take rest and rest for too long.
And that's for it works. That's for back tweaks, but it also works for like a hip. Like I injured my hip. I bumped my step up. I bumped my protein. I bumped my water. Boom. 2 weeks later, like I feel good, and I can train again. But yeah, it was mainly my back where I had like that right side, and then it happened on the left side, and then me thinking I was still an athlete because now they know I was playing tennis for 15 years almost. Last December I tried to run a 100 dash against Sawyer.
Oh, I remember that,
Midway through, hamstring just snapped, bro. I felt a huge pop. I was like, oh no.
Was it a complete tear? Or?
Not complete tear. It was, I would say, just like a severe strain.
Gotcha.
Yeah, severe strain. Took 6 weeks, and 6 weeks later I squatted 600 pounds for the first time.
Nice.
So it just shows that like injuries are here, but like if you know what to do, you can always come back stronger.
I like that. When you talk about the 600-pound squat, I remember when I first met you and then started looking at your stuff online. It's amazing to me how someone like yourself like gets hate, but we all do to some degree, right? And I remember a lot of the stuff that people would talk about would be like, oh, he's only good at sumo, or oh, sumo, whatever. But then I remember telling a friend of mine that was in powerlifting even before me about you, and it's like just talking about how ridiculous it is, how much you're lifting, and like what you taught me, and so on and so forth. And the remark was made was like, oh, I think they're only good at like sumo. I was like, no, I think he actually squats like high fives or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
so really, I mean, I think a lot of people see or deadlift and it's just like ungodly amount of weight.
Because that's mainly what I pose. That's like the main event.
But also, like your squat, when you really think about it, at 160, 165, squatting 600, that's also quite ridiculous too.
That's elite level. That's elite class squat. Obviously now you have Austin, which Perk is his own kind of like man. He squats 700 pounds at 165. This guy is out of perfect leverages, like super. He knows what he's doing. But yeah, 600 pound squat is still for my leverages. Like I don't have a squatter build.
Right.
I travel a lot. I have super long femurs, so it's very like my positioning. It's not the most optimal, but I'm still able to squat 6.
Yeah, I was gonna say because your body is very well built for sumo, but not so much for squatting, and you're squatting a ridiculous amount of weight. So overall, you're just a ridiculously strong person, you know?
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Just the beginning, like I said, 5 years. Who knows where I'm gonna be ending? Like when I'm in my prime, 5 years from now, when I turn like 28, 29, I'm be like, oh yeah, like now it's actually getting serious. So it's like now from this point on to up until I enter my prime is really I have to do everything to stay healthy and put on as much like the tissue and muscle as I can, because obviously I'm not gonna stay here. If I look at it from the point I started working out, like not working out but competing in powerlifting, my first meet I was 140 pounds and I was walking at 140 3 years ago. Then a year later I started walking around 150. Then a year later 160. Now I'm fluctuating in the 170s. So it's like if I keep that trajectory, in 3-4 years from now, I should be in the 200 or 190-ish.
Yeah, so, you have the frame for it.
Yeah, I have the frame. So it's like it takes time, obviously, naturally, to fill your frame up, but it's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good point too. All of those numbers that we're talking about earlier are drug tested. And so with that said, I wanted to ask, because this is actually pretty interesting for me, is in other sports like jiu-jitsu and bodybuilding, obviously like non-drug tested is generally the stronger side of the two. But in powerlifting though, it seems as though the tested side has gained a lot of momentum, and like quite honestly the strongest people seem to be on the tested side of it. Obviously you have people on the non-tested, but like as a whole it seems like, so why do you think that is? Like why the tested people seem to be stronger than the not, and what is your motivation to continue to stay drug free in order to seek your potential?
All right, so to touch back on your first question, I really think you really don't need steroids to get strong. Okay. I don't think steroids will make you feel better, bigger, fuller, more energized when it comes to your training. But when it comes to, if you're not fixing the things you're supposed to fix, it's not gonna come to you. So it's like, I think people that actually are not taking steroids and training powerlifting properly, taking their training seriously and their recovery seriously, can make as much or even more progress than somebody that's kind of washy-washy but is actually like on, I don't know, 500 tests and a little bit of Mastron and a little bit of orals and stuff. So that's to talk about what was the second question?
Why do you choose now, knowing that there is another side of it, to continue to stay tested and pursue what you're pursuing?
Are you guys looking for a barefoot shoe that doesn't look like you're stealing from your grandmother's closet? Well, I have the solution for you. Use my code HOUSESTRONG at vivobarefoot.com if you want the best looking, best feeling, most versatile barefoot shoe on the market.
I'm not gonna say I don't want to.
For sure, yeah.
I wouldn't. Obviously, there's a part of me that's like, damn, what could I do if I actually like went on the other side? But I think before that, it's even way too early for me to even think about this, because I've been doing it for 5 years only.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you like for example, Sawyer, he's been powerlifting for 9 years, so he almost has double training than I have. That's a question that that's a question that he could potentially ask himself. I can't really right now ask myself like if I should take steroids, like would I get stronger? Like no, like right now what's important for me is just like get as strong as possible as I can naturally, and then we'll see what happens. Did I kind of deviate on the question?
No, that's good. I like it. It's very upfront and honest, you know, because I think there's a lot of people that probably
and
think
also
the same.
social media, like the pressure, it's often not talked about. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure with social media.
I'm sure.
Yeah. People are like, oh, well, you know, like just hop on and see what happens, and then because you see, now we just talked about it earlier. You see kids pulling 400 kilos. It's a little, you know, that's tempting.
Yeah, right, for sure. Yeah, to keep up.
Yeah, to keep up. But you know, it's smarter to like take your time. We all have our own journey. Don't compare yourself to others. Like it doesn't, like, I know now you open Instagram and you're like, oh well, what am I even doing it? Like no. It's, everybody has their own journey. Everybody can be great and motivate people a certain way and be good for this community, because I think there's a lot of toxicity happening, especially lately. I'm sure you see with that all those like every time I open my phone I was like, oh, something new just happened.
With the thing, I saw that's been popping off for sure. I just think guys like yourself are important to have to show people that are able to maintain that world-class level without, to show people that either or is possible, so that people are at least able to make an educated decision, you know?
Absolutely.
Versus when I first started.
Also the food, that's the thing for me. Like I was talking about, like, no, but I haven't maxed out my frame. Like why would I even try to take steroids, you know? I need to eat. Like right now, food for me is my steroid. Like the more I eat, the stronger I get. So it's like every time I eat, it's like I have newbie gains again. So there's a lot of stuff you can do before thinking of like taking steroids to get stronger.
That's a great point, because you're still filling out your frame, and a lot of your competing has been like cutting back down to 148, right?
Yep. So most of my competition were done in the 148, but I'm entering the 165. I've done a few. I've pulled 755, now 165. Now the goal is to pull 8, like to be the best in the 165, which is Keith pulled 804, and I want to go and try to do like 826 if possible, like 370, like having all reds and colors, and be like, okay,
Jesus, that'd be great.
If I do that, now I can go up and try to beat the 892 by Nazanov in the 83. He pulled 892. Granted, that was done in a Russian Fed with like bumper plates, and but I give it to him still.
He's Russian, so it counts.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Takes time, but it's a long.
Well, it sounds like you put a lot of thought into this in regards to like you yourself deem that you still have a lot of growing to do, versus like I think a lot of people look at somebody like yourself, can't even imagine getting to your level, so to think that they could achieve what you're doing naturally and then maybe pass that, I think obviously so many people jump the gun on it, and so you've actually put a lot of thought into like, okay, realistically, I've only been doing this for 5 years, realistically I'm still growing, realistically I've cut for most of my competition, so if I just
remind myself those things, because if I don't remind myself those things, I'm honest, I can find myself be like, I'm not making the progress I want. I'm not satisfied with my training. That's when like you start going in that dark spiral, and it's hard to like get out of your head, you know.
Can you talk about that? I was talking about this with Sawyer, where people like yourself, like Sawyer, you're put on this pedestal of powerlifting Instagram, where rightfully deserved, but also it's easy for the viewer to think like, oh, they just lift all the time, they don't deal with real life shit, they don't have a job, like whatever. But like you obviously have to overcome so many mental or personal struggles in order to get to the point to where you can train like you do and achieve what you have. So what do you personally do to deal with those things, overcome, and maybe even use it as fuel?
So what do I do? So obviously not everything comes easy. Like you always have to work for what you want in life. And for me, if I take it like a personal example, nothing was gifted to me. I had to work my butt off to get where I was. And it started by like sometimes deadlifting every day in my garage, like on my own. Like that I was setting goals for myself, and every time I achieve a new goal, I set a new goal. Like if you can see, I have like notes writing on every time I wake up, I have my weight I have to get. Every time I remind myself that I need to achieve those goals, to go beyond those goals. Second part of your question, I think I got lost.
Oh no, you're good. I just like, you know, whatever struggles or personal issues that you deal with, where do you overcome those in training?
How do I overcome those? By turning any negative into positive, you know, like instead of saying I can't fail this 370 kilo deadlift today, I'm gonna tell myself I'm gonna deadlift 370 kilo today, you know, and it's very easy to switch that mindset. That because like I'm an overthinker. I don't know, most people. There's a lot of overthinkers. I overthink a lot. In overthinking, like you might actually tax yourself for the performance you're trying to do. So it's like you're gonna think of. For a week, you're gonna feel, oh my God, in a week from now, I have to be on point and I have to do this. And then there's a lot of stress factors that happen up until that point. I don't know, it could be family issues, or it could be like anything, like something happening in your house, or your dog, or somebody getting sick, anything.
Yeah.
And then now you're starting getting stressed, and then now you're reminding yourself, oh, but in 2 days I have to do this. I can't let myself take this over. What I do really is like, I have a very strict routine to start my day with no stress. Like turn off all negativity, turn off all like technology. I wake up, I go I take a very cold shower, I get in the shower, cold shower for like 2 minutes. I get out, I go do 5,000 steps every day.
Really? Okay.
I get out of my apartment, I do 5,000 steps around the residence, fasted, I come back, I drink a huge cup of water, and I start eating fruits. And then now maybe I can start replying to emails, and then replying to stuff, and starting like planning content for whatever, because now my brain is open, and now I can eat, and then now I can train. It's really like having a routine that would like help you out to battle those adversities, I would say.
I like that a lot. I'll parlay that into, how do you, as somebody that uses social media to leverage your brand and your growth, balance that side of being able to control not being consumed, but also still use it in a way to benefit yourself?
Obviously you're gonna find myself burning out a few times. It happens. It's just like knowing the right balance, knowing when you need to take a break, because obviously that you get that pressure now. You get like hundreds of thousands of people following you on multiple platforms, and they have expectations. They want good content from you. They want to learn from you. They need advice from you, and it's really like trying the right balance of like finding the time in your day for that, and then having a normal life outside of that. Because if all you do is focusing on being the strongest, posting all the content and training and eating your food, and now you're starting acting like a robot, and you're not really you're not being a human again. So it's like you really have to, and if it's sometimes you have to take a break of social media completely, and you have to travel somewhere else and go overseas and take a month or two off just to refresh, that works well. That works for me. Like sometimes when I'm finding myself, okay, I need a break, I go overseas, I go back to my country, and I just chill for a month or two, and then I come back, and I always come back like refreshed, I'd say.
You kind of did that recently, right? But for competition though.
I did for competition, but I went there earlier to just like, I did there for the competition, and then after I went on like a real vacation for like 2 weeks, or I was on an island, and I was just like not worried about anything, and then I come back, and now I can actually get back to training, and now I'm in that zone where I did my training, I did my volume, now I'm in the singles, and now I can actually enjoy the training, and it's a repeating process.
Okay, yeah, I like that a lot. What's your advice for, say, beginners who see somebody like yourself that has a brand now? How would you advise them to start if that's their eventual goal, is to use their powerlifting to create a brand, to make money, to make this an actual career? Don't
be scared to post. Don't be scared to show your personality also. Don't be scared to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Don't be comparing yourself to all of this industry, because especially here in the US, it's a huge market. The competition is so high. I go overseas, I see, man, they're so far behind. They're like 5 years behind. Like the gyms, the equipment, the community. I see stuff like happening in France, like in Europe now, that was already happening like 5 years before here in the US. So it's like, don't compare yourself. You have your own journey. Post. Don't care about the views at first. Don't care about if you have one view that just tells you there's one person that cares, and if there is one person that cares, that means somebody eventually will care if you stay consistent, and obviously the consistency. So you have to train the algorithm. You have to understand the algorithm, because all those things, it's like a real thing. You need to understand how it works. You need to understand how to properly engage with your audience, and then also give back. People love when you give back to your community.
Yeah.
So learn all of that stuff, and I think anybody could do it. Because you don't have to be strong to build a brand. If you're just intelligent, now you have the knowledge. Now you can spread your knowledge to inspire millions.
Yeah, very true. I think nowadays the intelligence side is even more important than the strong side.
Oh,
at least on social
you
media.
saw that switch?
Yeah.
I went from like people were so into like the strength or the super nice physique, and now all you see on social media, obviously you still see somebody deadlifting or squatting something heavy, but now you see a lot of like science-based people who actually give decent advice.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because there's a lot of like people that are really strong, but only so many people can actually become their own, let's say, character out of it, to where like quite literally you're on Instagram, you follow Nabil, you follow Johnny, or you follow Derek because they're a character, and it's like watching your favorite TV show, you know, but yet obviously you got world record holding people that are doing this. But to separate yourself, I think you probably agree, you have to be able to show your personality on camera.
Especially now.
Yeah.
Yep. Like people want to learn a little bit more, because the algorithm changes every other year. But now it's like people really are interested in what you're gonna do, what are you eating, what are you supplementing to achieve those goals. So don't be scared to share anything, and don't be scared to post. Is like and then stay consistent is the biggest advice to like grow a strong community.
Does that look like daily posting to you?
You have to do daily posting for the first year or two to jumpstart the channel, you know.
What was your growth like?
I was literally posting every day, and then it went like, and then after a certain time, when you see that exponential growth, now you can actually like start back it off a little bit, post a little bit less, post when you want, and then
And you've leveraged that into different sponsorships and stuff. I know one of your bigger ones is the Gymshark.
Yeah,
Gymshark. What's your code?
Code Nabil.
All right.
Hey, Black Friday coming soon.
Use Nabil's, not Sawyer's.
Code Nabil, Sawyer. No, whoever wants to support us, obviously we are very appreciative of that. It means a lot to us. And
can you talk about how that opportunity came about?
Yes, absolutely. So the Gymshark opportunity. So I was in contact with Gymshark. Were in contact with me back in already 2021 when I was posting those viral deadlifts, and people were just screaming in the comments like, "Who this kid? Who is this kid? Where he comes from?" And they were already in contact with me. I think they sent me like their first power wash collection back in end of 2021, and they sent me their first power wash, which I saw, because to me it means a lot, because that's the first kind of like piece of clothes they sent me, and I was already pretty excited about how I could like grow them and all that stuff. So after that, met my dear friend Sawyer in 2022, and we trained together in PA, and we went to Power Build. We did a session, and at that time, Gymshark, they renewed their self, and they wanted like to introduce more like powerlifting people, and then they obviously contacted me, and
that's really cool.
So you're a very good friend with David, so obviously I'm sure it was part of like the whole thing that got my name out there, and then we were just starting like. We did a few photo shoots, and then from there, obviously getting codes, and then I was able to like promote the products to my audience, and obviously like it's been a blessing since, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity. And obviously after that was my first sponsor, so I started with the clothes. It was the Gymshark, it was Gymshark clothes, and then it was Avances, the shoes, brand new shoes. I couldn't be here. If you want to get a fresh pair of Avances, best grip on the market.
I love them too.
Very low to the ground. You like it. You'll like it. But it was Avances, and then My Protein. So it was pretty blessed, and I'm very thankful. But obviously it took a lot of work to get to a point where now you can have sponsors like sponsoring you, and then you can make commission also off of that. It's just not just commission; it's a base salary. So. I was pretty fortunate to get to this position.
So you started with really some pretty big name sponsors from the beginning, right?
Yeah, my first was basically Gymshark. I mean, I had a small company, like they tried to like send me stuff, and a lot of them just send me stuff, and even some of them like helped me. Like I released like deadlift carpets, we did like a few collabs together and then stuff like that. But then it felt like he was just using me too much for my name. It didn't feel like I was winning in the story. So I was like, I'm not gonna get like a sponsorship until like I know it's something that really can benefit me and my audience.
I think that's a good point, because not a lot of people think about that when you're first like looking for sponsorships or whatever. It's like value for value exchange. Like
you have to know your value. Don't quit selling yourself cheap. Like it's, we all have our own values. We can bring in our own values, but you have to know how to negotiate and not sell yourself cheap. Not sell yourself cheap.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because for me, denying a lot of opportunities, it's with the intention of acknowledging my value, but also knowing that the opportunities that you are seeking will come if you continue on the path that you're doing.
They will come.
And you don't need to sell yourself short. Because I mean, like, how do you sign with one of the smaller companies that didn't value you as much, then you're unable to sign with like a Gymshark or whatever.
Exactly.
But you're a patient.
Exactly. But obviously you can always find like deals if you can have multiple sponsorships. That you see that in the fitness industry. But know your value.
Yeah,
it's very important.
That's great advice. I like that. How are we on time, Matt?
We're good.
You want an hour?
We're basically around 46 minutes.
Oh, did you restart it when I wasn't looking?
Like perfectly.
Oh, never mind. Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool.
18 minutes now.
Cool. Gotcha. I'll ask.
What about you, Jimmy? Like, okay, we just talked for like 40 minutes about me. That was great. I want to know about you, man. I haven't seen you in a few months. I know you got injured.
Yes.
I know now you're preparing yourself for this wrestling match in December.
Yep.
So what is it like for you to like mentally, physically to prepare yourself, knowing that you're coming back, overcoming an injury, and then you have a very important match into like at the end of the year, like what it's like for you? Is it a challenge? Like what's the hardest challenge for you that you faced so far?
Yeah, it's been a huge challenge. A lot of mental challenges more than anything. Physical for sure, because I have the knee surgery, the recovery from that, but I also am dealing with mold poisoning from my girlfriend's last apartment.
Oh my God. So you're breathing all that stuff and you got it in your lungs and
my breathing's been terrible. I was going bald for a little bit actually. I was growing my hair out and I started noticing balding spots.
Wow.
So then I cut it short in efforts to hopefully grow it back again.
Mold in the walls are a real thing. Check it out.
Mold was causing you to mold?
Yeah, there's
That's crazy.
like because it just causes a bunch of stress in your body, so then the hair starts falling out. And I was really confused because my mom's side of the family, I'm not supposed to be going bald, so I'm like, what the hell is happening? But, so the breathing, balding, I was gaining like ridiculous amounts of weight for no reason. Like my body was holding a bunch
You're pretty lean right now.
Thank you. I've lost about 16 pounds, but like I got up to 226 after holding 210. Just like literally gained 15 pounds in about a month, like excess inflammation from all the stuff.
Get it.
And then I got tested for it, and there's like 5 different mold variants in my body. It was pretty bad. So anyways, coming through that, but then also to answer your original question, for me, it's actually, I feel like I'm reaching some new peaks of intellectual ability and motivation and drive and discipline. And I accredit that to the mental struggle of putting this time clock of success essentially for myself, which a lot of people will say is not how I should do it. And I agree, but it does drive me to push very, very hard in the now to try to get a lot of things done before I have this first match and before this next year is dedicated to getting as much experience as I can to try to reach that next level. Because for myself,
I can totally relate to that. If I put in my own perspective, when I first started competing in powerlifting, it was the same thing. Just put myself out there and like, don't be scared. You know, it's just. You don't know where you're gonna end up. So,
exactly.
It's great that you're now like setting up all those things already in advance, even before you enter those big leagues. You know.
Yeah.
That's great.
And being 28, it's like I'm not old, but I'm also like at that age where
we're not old, guys.
Yeah.
We're only like 3 years apart, but we're not old.
Yeah, literally. I also need to know that I need to do something like right now. Otherwise, it could very easily slip past me. So.
Yep.
But
take actions.
Exactly. So overall, mentally, I'm in a much better place. Physically, I'm getting better every day. days, and I'm excited to actually get the matches going after sitting out for about half a year. So, yeah.
Maybe one day you'll give me a little lessons on like jiu-jitsu or like some moves.
Yeah, no, I was gonna ask if do you have any?
I never like wrestle, but I think I have the wrestle type build.
I think you would. Bit, right? Yeah, you would.
With long arms, like lengthy. I can get under.
Yeah. Do the
I have good hip mobility.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Do the classic switch from powerlifting to jiu-jitsu.
Hey, Derek did it.
Yeah, Derek did it. That's funny. Yeah. You would like something like that, just because your mind's good for it too. Like you have to be really smart to be really good at it.
It's very hard.
Very technical.
Grappling is physics. It's very intense.
Would you ever consider switching to something else after your powerlifting goals are accomplished?
The more I think about it, the more I think after my powerlifting, I'll still be doing some fitness, maybe some bodybuilding stuff, or some body weight, like
calisthenics. Yeah, that would be dope.
That would be dope to see, like, just to get like a sense of like doing a couple years of like body weight training, because you see them, they're super jacked and lean, and they can do like weighted pull-ups with like 3 times their body weight, or weighted dips with like 3 times their body weight. It usually like correlates well to like in life in general, or just in the gym, like somebody that just does dips and then goes and tries to bench press. They usually are.
Yeah, I think
they're strong. So it could be bodybuilding, could be calisthenics again, because I did 6 months. I started with calisthenics, and then I switched to bodybuilding. One of the two. I don't think I ever do CrossFit though. No.
Hopefully my girlfriend doesn't watch this podcast.
Oh man, I'm sorry, girlfriend. No offense.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's just too hard for me.
Yeah.
On the cardio.
She's gonna hit me. Just kidding. That's funny. In the powerlifting community, last couple questions. What are some things that you love about the powerlifting community, and versus a couple things that you think needs to change?
Things I like. Things needs to change. Things that I like. Things that needs to change. We start with things we need to change probably. Federations. I think there's a lot of like confusions when it comes to like federations. Oh, but that guy did that record in that federation, but that guy did actually this record which was 4 pounds heavier in that federation. But no, this guy has a world title, so it means he's the world champion. But no, if you look on paper, the strongest person in that at that weight is in a different federation. So it's like finding maybe just have one federation where you have tested and untested, a federation where you could use whatever bar you want, or federations where they allow all of that to just unify. I feel like it's more like groups, like not social groups, but like community groups, and they're always like talk bad about the other ones. They're like, oh, this guy's using a deadlift bar, or this guy is using a stiff bar, oh, this guy is not tested, oh, this guy is tested. It gets very confusing. I think they need for powerlifting to be mainstream. I mean, they're doing good with the IPF Worlds and their Sheffields and all of that. But there's no money in the sport. So it's like, to bring more money, they just have to stop being this toxic to each other. And then I think it'll eventually expand a little bit more.
That's good.
Stuff that I like about powerlifting is that you can push yourself really you can be very intense with your training, and it actually helps, like, if you have like some sort of like mental problem, sometimes you can just go in the gym and feel way better about yourself. That's something that I like. Sometimes where I feel like I have like stuff happening in my life, few problems, like anybody could have problems, and I go in the gym and I was like, okay, I'm gonna turn off distraction and I'm gonna actually lift something heavy, and I'm gonna feel good about myself. And I found myself after the training, I was like, damn, okay, it was pretty good. Come back, and then it's just like, okay, repeat, do it again, and then it really helped me actually mentally, and I think it can help also other people mentally. So I think like powerlifting has a huge like mental aspect where you can turn it to a positive thing for yourself, and then obviously the bad part of it is just the toxicity among all those lifters.
Right. Yeah, I think every sport has the good and the bad, because you have people like
I'm not saying like like it's a sport at the end of the day. So it's like if I have beef against you because we're in the same class, that's great for the sport.
Yeah,
it's not.
right.
That's a different type of toxicity that I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, I think, you got people like yourself where you see somebody random that, that is not as into powerlifting, but you help them just because like they're looking for help, versus, there's the other side of it. And it's in all sports where you have people that aren't as graceful with like their knowledge or help or whatever. And that's why I think it's important to know that people in your position and Sawyer's position, Johnny, Derek, guys like that are actually very friendly and willing to help and talk and
like
converse.
People would be so surprised sometimes. I'm like, but at the end of the day, I'm just a normal guy. They come and approach me and it's like, oh, I know you, and they ask for the advice, and I give them advice. I was like, damn, you're actually so cool. But like, you could have came, like anybody can come and talk to us or talk to me. Like I'm just a Nabil, I'm just a cool kid. Okay, that there's a lot of way, but that's about it. Like if I acquired all this knowledge in just 5 years, I would now. If you come to me and ask for it, I'm just gonna give to you everything that I accumulated in 5 years. I don't have anything to hide. I'm not gonna be. Oh no, I'm not. You gotta figure out your own kid. I'm not gonna be that guy. Obviously, sometimes like you have people that are overbearing, where it's like imagine you have to go and hit a PR. You have your music. You're in your top set. You're getting in the zone right before, and it's like, hey dude, like man, how are you doing? Like obviously this is like okay, just wait for a little bit. You see, I'm gonna go for a lift, then I can talk to you
100%
after. It's like I remember seeing that viral. It's like that video of who was it? It was this Olympic weightlifter to Zoo Culture, and Bradley Martin approached him right before he tried to max out his overhead strict press, and that was like 3 years ago. And Klokov didn't care. He was like, hey dude, step to the side, I'll talk to you in 5 minutes.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then he did his overhead press PR, dropped it, and then it was just normal. It was like now they started talking and
nice.
starting
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was. So it's like don't be scared, just come and just talk to me. I'm just a normal kid.
If I told you by watching this podcast you could get one pass to unlock several gym memberships. Say what? That's right. With Rep Gym Pass and code HouseStrong, you can save money on a gym pass that allows you to go to all the participating gyms on this singular app. And if you're a gym owner and want your gym to be a part of it, comment down below and I'll reach out and we can get you set up on Rep Gym Pass.
Yeah, for sure. No, I like it. I agree. 100%. Last general question. I asked Sawyer about red flags for powerlifting gyms, so I asked you about what are your green flags somebody should look for when looking for a powerlifting gym to sign up for?
Green flags of powerlifting gym. All right. So obviously here in Texas it's very hot. So if you can find a gym, if you live in a place where it's hot, if you can find a gym with an AC,
oh my gosh,
that'll be great because
I went
you sweat, you lose so much minerals, water, electrolytes. You can't hold on to anything. It's great if you want to cut.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So for me right now, since I'm in Texas, like the number one thing is like having running AC. Then you have running water, because you might find some gyms where they don't even have running water, or they have running water, they just don't want to sell it to you. They're just gonna sell like bottles of water just to profit off of you. They don't even have.
I know what that's like.
Yeah. Obviously the equipments, like the machines are very important. I have certain machines that I know works for me, just like Sawyer. He has his leg press. He cannot do his leg day somewhere else because his leg press is what makes him squat more weight. I have my dip machine, a very special dip machine. I have my things. So it's like if that gym has that type of machine that I know will get me strong, I'll go and train there. And the environment, if strong people go in the gym and train there, I know I'll get strong. Don't try to go in a gym where it all looks nice. There you have showers. I don't really care about like the aesthetic. I just care about the environment and the people that go in there. Because I found myself when I went to France, I had nobody. I got weaker because of it. I got weak because I was like, I just go in the gym and there's nobody there. There's no like, I'm just in a little circle. There's no great machines, and I find myself not I was not motivated for a month and a half. I was like, it's so hard. And I come back here and I have Sawyer and I have Derek and I have everybody, Jamal, and we're like, oh yeah, this is where I belong. This is where I need to be. So try to find a gym where you have people that can actually motivate you, push yourself, good equipment, running AC, running water, and that's basically it. You need to be simple. I don't need much, for me at least, I don't need much more than that. I'm very simple. Obviously, people might have different expectations. People might want a gym like Alphaland to shoot content because they're more like a fitness type of model. You know, it's easier to go take pictures with other models and do all of that stuff. I'm more so into powerlifting, like that hardcore, just like where you come from, basically. That's what gets me strong. And I'll never change it. I'll never trade it for anything else.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I like that because a lot of powerlifting gyms really just have racks and barbells and stuff, and obviously that's a bare minimum. But I like your point about having at least a certain amount of machines so you can actually build muscle, get stronger, because that should be a part of powerlifting too.
Absolutely. Also, finding a gym where it doesn't get super busy, or just if it gets busy, it's normal, it's business, or just finding a time that works for you to go to the gym. You know, that's very important.
That's great. I love it.
And driving too. I don't mind driving 45 minutes or an hour, just one way. I mean, sometimes it's an hour and a half back and forth to go to a gym where I know I'm gonna get strong. But I might have a gym like 2 minutes away where I could still get a decent workout, but I know I'm gonna get stronger there. So I don't care. I'll make the drive, and I know it'll benefit me on the long run.
That's a good point. Okay, closing out, 2 things that you're chasing currently, and then 1 thing you're proud of currently.
All right, currently chasing a 400 kilo deadlift.
Okay,
so
easy enough.
Well,
very good. I know, right?
It's easy to say.
Yeah, literally.
It's easy to say. So it's our first singles block. So we pulled 705 on a week 1 today.
Awesome.
Yesterday, sorry. And then we'll build it up, hopefully to that 826.
Hell yeah.
And then gain more weight. Obviously, for me to build that momentum to get to that 400 kilo, I need to get heavier. So the main part is gonna be like the food, and then make sure I get all my food in. So when it comes to the lifting, is get that body weight back up to where I was, because now I'm 70. I need to get back to 180 plus, and I need to get to that near that, and then even go past beyond and try to go 190 next year, like summertime. And then if I'm 190 now, I think I can potentially be in the discussion. So it takes time, but that's the main goal. Like having a 400 kilo deadlift would be amazing.
Hell yeah.
And obviously now I'm also trying to release my first ebook.
Oh, cool.
I did coaching for 2.5 years. Okay. So I stopped coaching to focus on my career and get all those records and stuff. Obviously now sponsors happen and stuff, but I also want to give back. So it's gonna be 150 pages.
Nice.
So
okay.
It's I'm like 6 pages in.
Very cool.
But it's gonna take time. Hopefully I'm done by next year.
Yeah.
But that's something I'm working on. It's gonna be. Basically, I'm going to share everything that I took in those 5 years of powerlifting, those 3-4 years of competing. I'm going to put everything, regroup everything in there. It's going to be programming. It's going to range from intermediate levels. It's going to be elite levels too, and then amateur too. So people that just getting started, I want to try to apply to all those 3. And you're going to have obviously how to properly prep, and then all the deloads, and it's not just the program. You're gonna have pages of just me trying to explain what you should do if you want to get to that point. So that's something I'm working on. Hopefully it'll be done by January, and I can finally announce that, hey, my ebook is out.
That's exciting. Congrats. Very good.
Thank you. It takes time, but that's it. And
1 thing you're proud of.
That's something I really wanted to do, because I did the coaching. It worked well. I helped a lot of people get very strong. I remember this kid, Sony. He came to me with a 275 deadlift. He left with a 705 deadlift.
Wow.
Yeah, in a year and a half.
Damn.
Yeah, in a year and a half.
Casual.
I mean, I would say 2 years. It was 2 years of coaching, but I taught him the right way. I taught him everything that I did from when I was at this point, because when I first started, I was deadlifting 275 for 4 reps. That was the first time I touched the bar. 275 for rep, conventional. And then, if you listen, and then did pretty well eventually. So now, coaching, no coaching, but ebook. Maybe later I'll open up slots if I want to coach again. But for now, it's gonna probably be an ebook, and I think that ebook can actually help you get very strong.
I'm sure. Yeah, that's really cool.
If you read everything and you just take your time, I think it's gonna be good. So it'll be the ebook, it'll be my lifting like number goals and my body weight obviously, and then I wanna, cause I slightly got injured, I got sick, I wanted to go to the IPF. So what I did so the meet I did in France was to qualify for nationals.
Okay.
Nationals is in France is in 3 days. So I qualified for it, but it's in 3 days. I made the choice to not do this competition because when I came here I was injured, you know, and I was like, if I go in there, I might hinder myself, like I'm gonna have now it's gonna be like 6 months to get back into the volume and get back strong again, and then I was like, it's better if I don't do this and I come back next year even stronger as a full like 83 kilo, and then now I can actually like be in the discussion to like squat 650, bench 405, and then do all these things in the IPF, because I want to show like you can be good at both. You can now IPF is kind of like what's trendy, you know, so I'm gonna try to obviously take that route and do what I can to have the best total, but you can also be good at other stuff for single lifts, you know. And I think single lifts is really what like spice the sports up. Okay, having a great total is good, but isn't it just better just saying, oh, I deadlift 1,000 pounds? Like, what do you do? I just deadlifted 1,000 pounds. Oh, I'm a world champion at 66. No, I think saying I deadlifted 1,000 pounds.
Fair point.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see.
Good.
The future is bright.
Yeah, it totally is, 100%. And one thing you're proud of currently?
One thing I'm proud of? My dog.
Star of the show.
No, but I'm proud of a lot of things. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of my brother Sawyer doing good. I'm proud of his accomplishments, everything we've been able to accomplish, our growth.
You guys are a great team.
Yeah, we're a great team. I'm proud of my family. I'm proud of a lot of things.
Awesome, man. Love it. Do you have any?
I'm proud of you just
bro.
getting just pushing through and getting that match in December.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
That's very inspirational. Like, if a lot of people they won't do what you do. Like, I saw you walking, you're just like a little, you know, like he's not at 100%, but guess what? He's still gonna do it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
that's real motivation.
I appreciate it. Yes. Thank you so much.
No, thanks for having me, Jimmy.
Of course, dude. It's an honor. Thank you for your time. Any last plugs or anything that you want to put in there?
You can guys follow me on Instagram at Nabil _Lahlou LAHLOU. TikTok is Bibu _ the Fool, and you can follow me on YouTube, Nabil Lahlou also. And
awesome.
Sweet. Thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. Thank you.
It was awesome.
Yeah, of course. And thank you guys for your time. Until next time.
Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe and share to anybody. Like, if you watch a video and you got any positive about this video, just share it to your friend, share it to somebody that could relate to this type of content, somebody that's trying to get in the gym, somebody that's trying to get into content, all of that stuff. Don't hesitate, share this content.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Until next time, guys, Jimmy House, Nabil Lahlou. Out. Peace.
And that's going to conclude another episode of the Jimmy House podcast. If you guys have any questions that you want featured on future shows, make sure to put them down below. And until then, if you guys could keep liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing, it would mean the world to us. The more this channel grows, the more we can provide the content that you guys love to listen to. Until next time, thank you as always. Jimmy House, out.